Tech News Weekly is sponsored by Netflix. Watch thousands of TV episodes and movies on your PC, Mac, iPad, iPhone, or TV instantly. All streaming directly to you, saving you time, money, and hassle. For your free 30-day trial, go to netflix.com/GFQ.
Starting Tech News Weekly in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tech News Weekly, your weekly wrap-up of everything that happened in technology. I'm Andrew Zarian. As always, I'm joined by John, also known as Suncast, and the infamous Suncast. How you doing, John?
The infamous.
Yeah.
What does that exactly mean? What am I infamous for?
Oh, a lot, actually.
Is that good or bad?
Well, this is a family-friendly show, and I got to keep it family-friendly, so I don't want to go into the things that you're known for.
Oh, boy.
You know, it's fascinating, some of the things that you do. Fascinating. But John is here.
Well,
you can
you
follow
think
him.
I'm a serial murderer in training or something
psychopath.
like that.
Yes. I do think you murder people in the middle of the night. Because I know you don't sleep. So my assumption is you're just going out and just murdering people all day long. But I could be wrong.
All those murders that you see in Detroit, that's me.
You know what? Then you're a vigilante, and I actually applaud you.
All right, then.
Yeah.
I'm one of those superheroes that you see on those weird reality shows that follow those people that want to be like superheroes and stuff.
Yeah. That's exactly
Vigilante
what you become.
superheroes.
And Suncast is your alter ego, and you just burn people with it. You have a flashlight, and you hold it in their eyes, and you think over time they're just going to melt, but nothing really happens. You haven't really figured that aspect out of this. You can follow Suncast on Twitter at Suncast. He's also everywhere on the GFQ network. Everything you see on the GFQ network, he's pretty much responsible for it. I put 10% in. He puts all the remainder 90 into everything that happens on the GFQ website. So I want to thank him for that. Also joining us.
You can do all your stuff, and then if it wasn't for me, none of it would ever get shown.
Listen, all I got to do is take my pills and drink my coffee and just show up on the air. You guys are just propping me up like a dummy at this point, just getting me by the next 40 minutes. It's really what it's become. With me, our new co-host, he's been on the show for the last couple of weeks, Josh Coleman, at Culmination on Twitter, host of the T4 show, creator and founder of J Maverick Designs. If you're looking for a website to be done, J Maverick Design. He's also in the digital presence business. If you're a company or if you're starting a company, contact him. He will create your digital presence. What does digital presence mean, Colm?
Digital presence, meaning how you're perceived and what you're interacting with online, with all the Facebook and the Twitter.
What would John's digital presence be if he came to you and said, I need a digital presence? What would it be?
I mean, if Suncast really wants to go mainstream, then we'd have a lot to do. I mean, right now he's sort of like low key.
I like him low key. I don't like too much attention. I don't like people knowing about Suncast. I like to keep them all for myself. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter.
Andrew's dirty little
He
secret.
is my dirty little secret. You can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Zarian, also Facebook, whatever, everywhere that we're available. Lots going on. We were off last week. It was my wife's doctoral graduation party, so I was busy getting ready, and I was getting my hair cut, and I was going tanning, so we did not do a show last week, but there's a lot to talk about. A lot of stuff happened over the last week and a half. John, why don't you go into the first story, whatever you want to pick. I never let anybody pick the first one. Today, you're going to get to pick it.
Oh, I get to pick it? Well, that means that I actually have to look at something now.
You got to actually look at the notes that you actually wrote.
Yeah. Well, there's so many stories to choose from. Let's talk about this Nintendo and Best Buy partnership that's going on. Nintendo and Best Buy have formed a partnership for E3 where what they're going to do is they're going to bring games that you can normally only play at E3. You're also going to be able to play this at select Best Buy stores. There's like over 110 or so Best Buy stores that have agreed to be partners with Nintendo and have their select titles that you can only play at E3. You can now play them out as well at Best Buy, which I think is kind of cool. What do you guys think?
It is cool. I mean, listen, unfortunately, I'm a Nintendo fan, and they had such a lackluster debut of the Wii U. pretty much no titles were available. You only got Mario, and I beat that in 2 days. I'm sure a lot of people beat that in 2 days. Zombie Wii U was another title that they had exclusive that I really didn't get into, and the rest were available everywhere else. So I feel that they really have to make up, and they really have to give people something to kind of get the hype up for Nintendo, because they're not really doing too well right now. If you compare it to the Wii U, the Wii launch compared to the Wii U launch, it's night and day. I mean, there's pretty much no buzz around anything that's happening with Nintendo currently.
There's two good things about this that I see, and one is the fact that for people that don't get the chance to ever go to E3, because there's so much that you can do at E3 that you just don't normally get to do anywhere else when it comes to gaming, the fact that they're going to bring a little piece of E3 to all these little Best Buy stores, I think is awesome. But it also is great because Nintendo also creates a buzz for themselves in a time where they actually need to really do something in order to prop themselves back up.
How about you, Colin? What do you think of this? Because we bought the Wii U. We both got it for Christmas. We were very excited for it. And I think the excitement weared out within a week.
Yeah, pretty much about a week. Sometimes we log on just to update our systems and see what old games are there so we can just download them.
Wow, Kirby's on. 30 cents. Let's buy it, and I'll play it for 5 minutes and remember what miserable experience Nintendo was.
This is awful. Why am I playing this?
Yeah.
All right. So in one way, Suncast is totally right. This is great that Nintendo is getting a little bit of buzz because E3 is pretty much Sony versus Microsoft, and these two new boxes are coming out. Everyone wants to see the boxes, the games that are coming out. Nintendo's like an afterthought. So by doing this campaign with Best Buy, I guess you can go there. But are you going to go there? No.
No, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go to.
But you
Best
have
Buy.
one.
I have. Yeah, but it's extremely disappointing because they really. I mean, they have to unveil almost everything at this point with E3, and they have to show their exact year, I guess, their roadmap for the entire year with the releases of their games, because the only thing that we've really seen was a revamp of Zelda, right, Colm?
Yeah, that's the only thing. No, was there? Yeah, I guess that was the big title.
That was a big title, and it was a remastered version of which one? Which Zelda?
Wind Waker.
Wind Waker, yeah.
Yes.
So they've really fallen behind, and Nintendo's a fascinating story because I believe out of all the the consoles, when you got Sony, you got Microsoft, and you got Nintendo, they're going to be the first one out now. They're going to tap out, and that may be the best thing for them to kind of put their titles on different platforms and open up their library to iOS and to Android. And I mean, they could generate insane amount of revenue off of their titles because they have 30 years of titles just sitting there.
I just don't think that could ever happen.
You don't see it happening?
They made so much money off that Wii that I think they just have piles of money and they can afford to lose this generation and really work on the next generation. So
little fun note on what the tech. Paul Thurrott brought up an interesting point. Do you know how Sony makes their money?
Well, apparently, based off of the news story that I read, that
insurance.
Oh no!
Yeah, they make billions on insurance. They've made, I think, something like
what
$80
kind
billion.
Of insurance?
They do insurance. I don't know. They do insurance in Asia, and that's where they make all their money. They made $80 billion in the last decade from selling insurance.
That's so weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's insanely bizarre that happens, but it just shows you the state that some of these companies are in. I want to go into a big story, and that's the leaked images of Windows 8.1. There's a new build that's been leaked. I believe Paul Thurrott is the one who leaked it, and the start button is back. It also allows you. They're also allowing you to boot directly into desktop. This is something that a lot of people have been asking, especially me, where I have no need for Metro on my production machines. I would prefer to just go straight into Windows and launch whatever program I'm running. This is going to kind of cater that need and the enterprise need for Windows. But there's a little confusion. You're not getting the start menu back, right? You're getting a start button, and you're not getting the start menu. I don't know if you read that, John.
Yeah.
So do you know exactly
what it's bizarre because as far it's pretty much what we thought it was. We heard the rumor that Microsoft might be putting the start menu back in, and now we have that confirmed. But it's still pretty much just a button like you would have on your keyboard. Just the way it works now is when you hit the start button on your keyboard, it'll take you back to the whole Metro start screen, that interface that you normally get.
Does.
Instead of actually bringing up a sort of traditional start menu like you have now with Windows 7. So in a way, it's almost still a compromise in the sense that, oh yeah, we brought back the start button, but not necessarily in the sense that most people were kind of hoping that they would bring it back. Yes, they have the start button, but it doesn't bring up a traditional start menu of any sort like we were kind of wanting. So you're still in a way forced back into that Metro interface that if you don't like it and don't really want to use it, kind of makes no sense, especially in the fact that they have this new, that they are bringing the boot to desktop feature. All right, so you're going to have this boot to desktop feature, but you're still forcing me yet again to go back to this Metro interface to do a whole bunch of tasks.
I mean, but do you see it as, okay, you know what, we're kind of catering to what the people want, and maybe with the next version of Windows, maybe 8.2, we'll have more of a incorporation between the Metro experience and the desktop experience, which that's really what I was hoping for. I'm really hoping that they kind of incorporate some of these features from Metro inside a desktop and kind of have this like unified look rather than separating the two totally. I mean, it's a bizarre experience for someone that is so accustomed to the traditional desktop. And I think if they bridge that gap a little bit, people will be more inclined to go and purchase Windows 8 and run Windows 8 on their computer.
Yeah.
This is probably the first version of Windows since Windows 95 that I have not upgraded my main computers to. Sadly, I have zero interest to upgrade my computers to Windows 8 right now. And that says something. And I'm the enthusiast. I'm the one who's going and buying copies of Windows.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't necessarily care to upgrade any of my machines to Windows 8 right now because, and the fact is, it's 7-8 months now since it's launched, and there are still certain applications that are missing from Windows 8, certain functionality that you can do with Windows 7 that you can't do with Windows 8. And a good example of this, in my opinion, is like Windows Media Center. That's something that I've been looking into, and Windows Media Center support is pretty sketchy, if at all, on Windows 8 right now.
I think we'll probably get more of a... We'll probably understand more what the future of a Media Center version of Windows is going to be like when this new Xbox comes out. I think that's what they want you to have as a Media Center box. And it's very smart by them. I mean, I'm all for that. I think Xbox should be your Media Center rather than having, a computer in your living room.
I think also what we're seeing in Windows 8 is that they had such a huge success with Xbox, and sort of like that whole tile thing sort of started there, and then it came to here. And I mean, I run a Windows 8 machine right here on the right of me, and I immediately just want to go to desktop constantly because I don't understand. Here's the problem. The thing with me is that I like to digitally collect things, and there's no way to digitally collect anything in that desktop.
You can't do folders yet on the start screen that they have.
Yeah.
Which is something that a lot of people want, is the ability to actually have folders, not just icons to programs.
I look at Windows 8 as a 1.0 software, and much like anything else, there's going to be bugs, there's going to be things that we don't like, and the only pro from all of this is that we have learned that Microsoft is listening to what we want, which at first, I mean, under
listening but not delivering.
Well, they are delivering. They brought back the start button. They're bringing back. There's going to be
not necessarily in the sense that most people wanted it them to bring it back as.
Sure.
No, it's not in the sense that they're bringing it back as. But if you look at how Microsoft has functioned up until now, and under Steven Sinofsky's reign, there was going to be no start menu. There was going to be no boot to desktop. And now we're seeing, like, you know what? They've realized they pissed off Enterprise. These are the people that are going to be upgrading in the next, let's say, 5 years, okay? Because Enterprise is always behind. What are they going to do when Windows 7 has become dated for them? That's the biggest question that they have. And this is them. This is Microsoft saying, you know what, guys? We get it. We made a mistake with this. You could boot the desktop. We're adding multi-monitor support to Metro. We're adding all these things that you're requesting. I don't expect them to deliver on everything.
Done.
It is half done.
It's still all these things that they're bringing back are still half done. Like I said, yes, they got boot to desktop, but you're still, in order to do anything else, you still have to go back to the start screen.
Yeah.
And the whole point to boot to desktop is to avoid the whole start screen Metro interface.
I think, you know what, John? I think with the next couple versions of Windows, which we're seeing every year, they're going to be upgrading. I'm more forgiving of them not to add every feature that I want, because I know every year they're going to be updating this. So that's the plus on this. Yeah, but Apple's another example. I think that yearly update kind of slowed them down as far as developing the OS, rather than encouraging them to constantly do aggressive updates, because now they have the leisure to saying, well, every year we're adding little updates here, little updates there, and they've kind of fallen behind.
So then my question is the update that they're doing now, is that good enough?
I think
for as long as it's been out and for as many problems as there are, is the update that they're pushing out good enough to satisfy most users?
You know what? I guess we're going to find out at Build, right? We're going to find out at Build, because the preview version is getting released at Build, I think, in the next week or two. So we're going to see what they've actually done, because we don't know everything yet. We don't know what the final version is going to have.
I don't understand.
We know most of it. I mean, they're making a lot of changes to the search button, and the fact that it's going to act more like a global search. They're changing the way that you can personalize it. Now you can do photos on the start screen, which is kind of neat. You can change the colors a little bit more, and they're going to have better apps in the App Store, which
I'll tell you,
app sizes, which is nice. I mean, that's something that they need to do, because before you only had like 80% and 20% for two apps on the same screen, and now you can make them whatever size you want, which I didn't understand why they did that to begin with. If you have a huge monitor, a 24-inch monitor, that's 1920 by 1200, and all you can do is have one application at 80% and another application at 20%. Why can't you make it 50-50 or whatever size you want?
I'll tell you right now. Why a lot of these things were missing. They ran out of time. They didn't have enough time to do it. Windows 8 is not a complete operating system. That's why there are certain Windows preferences and settings that you do not have access to in Metro, and you have to do it in desktop. That is a perfect. It shows it. It's so clear that this was not fully completed. This was not a complete operating system at release.
It still almost in a way sounds like Longhorn to me, and the fact that they had this grand vision, but they weren't able to deliver on the grand vision.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, we're going to see a lot play out, and we're going to have a lot more Microsoft news in the coming weeks. Kind of exciting. I mean, I'm very excited to see all the changes. This is a very good year for technology, because we have to look at all the changes that are happening. We're getting a new Xbox. We're getting a new PlayStation. Windows 8.1 is coming out, so they're going to be releasing new operating systems. OS 10, the next version of OS 10 is coming out. iOS 7 is coming out. There are major changes happening, and I'm very excited for it. It's a really good year for tech. The next 2 quarters are going to be phenomenal. I'm going to have a lot to talk about on the show, and that's always good, because it's sometimes a pain to find good stories. I want you guys to talk about Fanhattan. Now, I saw this in notes. Both of you actually messaged me at the same time saying, "Andrew, you should check this out. This is actually really cool." So I guess I'll go to Suncast, and then I'll go to Comb, because I don't know much about it. You guys have done more, and you guys are actually impressed by this.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a very interesting product. I'm not too familiar with Fanhattan to begin with. I guess they do some sort of entertainment type of tablets, but now they're actually going to branch out and have their own set-top box. And their concept and the video that they've done for this is actually pretty cool. What it is it's going to be something of a cross between a Roku or Apple TV and Google TV, in the sense that it'll have all your entertainment stuff in one little section where you can have your live TV, your DVR, your Netflix, and everything else all in one little box that you can control from your TV. It's really cool. They call it like a cloud DVR, which is something that I'm very interested in, and having some sort of way of having live TV, a DVR that I can access from anything that I want that has all my stuff on it, and also Netflix and all that kind of stuff on it. It's just an everything entertainment device, if you will.
What do you think of this?
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's totally right. What they do, and the thing that they did before is if you search them on the App Store, they have like a app that'll just like you can type in Arrested Development and it'll give you all the options that you could stream it or watch it. But now they've got it in the hardware, and yeah, everything that John said about it. I mean, this is the box that's going to be the one box that has all your streaming all together in one place. What's also cool in the hardware is it's really a small footprint and it's a really cool design with the remote. I guess the control. Yeah, the remote. It just like magnetically sits on top, and then it's a touch screen, which John was you talked about that. So
yeah, it's just basically this blank white surface that you scroll on, which is kind of cool. And instead of actually having like these little buttons to press for left, right, up, down, etc., it's actually just like a touchpad in a way. What's interesting about what they're doing about this, though, is the fact that they're not actually going to sell this to you, the consumer. What they're actually planning to do is actually sell this to cable companies, and the cable companies will offer it to consumers.
That's actually brilliant. That's actually really, really cool.
Yeah, which I think is in a way their way of getting around of incorporating live TV into the device. Is that all right? In order to do this, we'll actually go through cable operators to do this.
And I'm not against that. I'm not against going through the cable operator and paying the cable operator to access, my cable, but through a different interface.
Do you realize?
I'm very interested. I can't wait for this to actually be something that's out there. They say that they have this all ready to go. We just don't know what the next steps are from here. Who's going to offer it, when they're going to offer it. Because this is something that in a way, I'm looking to do this right now. I'm actually looking to get an HD home run Prime TV tuner to be able to have some sort of cloud DVR and TV access on any device that I have, whether it be a computer, a TV, or a tablet. That's something that I'm very interested in. I would love to be able to access my TV, whether it's like my computer, a TV, or a tablet.
Yeah.
Plus my DVR, all the media that I have that I download from iTunes or wherever. I'd love to be able to access that on all those same devices.
We don't really agree on some stuff here. We tend to defend other sides of technology, but there's one thing that we all agree on, guys. I think Home and John both know what I'm talking about, and that's Netflix. We both agree that Netflix is by far one of the best online providers of media to your house, to your TV, to your iPad, to your Roku box, whatever it is. Netflix is on there. And I want to thank Netflix because they are a sponsor of this show. I have been using Netflix almost every night the last, I want to say...
You're obsessed. Let's just be honest.
No, I want to say, this is something that we discuss all the time here in my house at the Zarian compound, and that's getting rid of cable. Nobody's watching cable anymore. I have a Roku box for my brothers. I got them a Roku box. And every time I'll go into their room, Roku's on. The Roku's on, of course. And they're watching Always Sunny in Philadelphia on Netflix. Right. I go to my father. I set him up with a nice setup. He's watching Bob's Burgers on Netflix because that's apparently his new favorite show because it's on Netflix.
Never seen it.
It's brilliant. It's a hysterical cartoon.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's really well done.
Maybe I'll watch it tonight.
In my bedroom, Netflix is on all the time on my Google TV. So we are not turning on our television, our cable anymore.
Well, if you're not turning your television, how are you watching all this
telepathically? Netflix is so good.
They're streaming to your head now?
That's their new thing. That's why they're promoting us right now. We're talking about telepathic streaming to your head for 30 days for free. No, I've been... I've had Netflix for years, and when it was a DVD service, I didn't really use it. We had it, we would get a DVD, it would sit here for a little bit, and then we would mail it back, and then we would get another one, but we were rarely using it. When they started offering the streaming, and it became so accessible to you because it's on every platform, that's all we're doing now. Always Sunny in Philadelphia, one of my favorite shows. There's 8 seasons of it on Netflix. Arrested Development got launched on Sunday. Did you finish it, Josh?
I have not finished it yet.
I'm done. I watched all of it, all 15 episodes.
I heard it does have...
So that's what you've been doing.
That's exactly what I've been doing.
I heard it has a payoff. That's a rumor.
Yeah, significant payoff. And at the end, if you're watching it, if you get to the last episode, wait till the credits are over because there's a little thing at the end of it.
They're joining the Avengers.
They're doing a Marvel
Samuel
finish.
L. comes out with his patch. They've got a mission.
It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
But if you don't have Netflix, and I know a lot of us have Netflix, almost everybody watching me probably has Netflix right now. If you don't have Netflix, or if you want to get Netflix as a gift for somebody, try this out because here's the great deal they're offering you. 30 days for free. You get a month to try out whatever you want to do. So if you listen, secret between us, if let's say you're a huge Arrested Development fan and you don't have Netflix, you know what you could do? Get it on Friday. You stay home for 2 days. You watch it. And guess what? There's no sign up. There's no credit card needed. You just say, okay, I'm done with my trial. Netflix.com/GFQ. And you get a 30-day trial. I want to thank Netflix for supporting the show and supporting What the Tech because supporting the entire network, supporting the GFQ network, I should say, because I'm a big Netflix fan. I really am a huge Netflix fan. It's really changed my life in the way that I consume media.
Well, I mean, if we really wanted to talk about the cable companies, I think in 10 years, it might be a whole different situation, and you need to be a provider that produces original content.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is shifting, a lot of it is changing, and that's something that we constantly talk about here on the show. There was the D11 conference that was held a couple days ago, and some interesting stuff came out of that. I don't know if you guys watched it. Tim Cook was being interviewed by Walt Mossberg. I know Michael Mann is not a big Mossberg.
Would you call that an interview?
I would call it something else that is not very appropriate for this show. There was a lot of stroking going on, which was sickening to watch as someone that, you could have a guest on, but I play it down the middle. I'm not really, I could interview whoever it is, but I always try to play it down the middle. I don't show my opinion on stuff certain times. And if I do, I don't take one side specifically. The whole Mac versus Windows thing, I'm always in the middle. I use a MacBook. That's my primary laptop, but I also use Windows, and I get both sides. But we did get some news, and that's that Apple is opening up its API for development, like wearable devices for the next version of iOS and OS 10. And that was an interesting story. Like, for example, you could, you can't really change your keyboard on iOS, but there's the potential that you could have access to Swift key and swipe on the next version of iOS, which is fascinating to me. That they're going from this closed way of doing things and they're kind of opening up. Do you guys think this is a good thing for them? Why do you think now is the time for them to open up the API?
Well, I think that's the only way I would ever go back to Apple is if Swipe was there, because the way that I write now on a mobile device is that keyboard, and I don't know how anyone still goes like this. It just amazes me. Like, I get my iPhone, I'm like, oh, I have to type like this, because just going like this is so much faster now, and it works so well.
What do you think, John? Because you're an iPhone user.
This is something that I'm taking with a grain of salt, knowing Apple and what they've done in the past, especially the recent past, where they've actually been going actively after app developers that include some sort of app functionality or app promotions in their apps. So I don't know that I necessarily believe that this is such a good thing, because I don't know. It's just I'll believe it when I see it type of thing. That's what it is. I'll believe it when we start seeing these things and that they're going to actually treat developers nicely in all of this.
He also confirmed. Wow, that's weird. I keep getting this bizarre error. He also confirmed that the next version of iOS, unofficially dubbed iOS 7, is set to unveil at next month's WWDC conference. Wow. He also confirmed that Jony Ives is indeed working on it and said that that well-known Apple designer guru has been really key for the upcoming software update. A lot of changes. They're going to get rid of a lot of these. What is the word that they're calling it?
All that glossy shit.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh my God. I'm sorry I said that.
It's all right.
I hate cursing on the air.
They're getting rid of a lot of that stuff. They're kind of making it two-dimensional. I'm excited to see the next version because I do think they need a major facelift to iOS. And next month, I guess we're seeing the unveiling of this. I'm more interested in what they're going to do with OS 10 and how where OS 10 is evolving, because this is a old operating system at this point.
Well, I mean, that goes to the whole thing that you guys were just talking about with Windows 8, I feel like we have these operating systems that work with our hands now, with these tablets and these phones and these other devices. But when you sit down at a desktop, and when I'm doing what I do for a living is work in Photoshop and InDesign, I need to have the control and precision of the mouse and keyboard. And the way I organize files, like that whole file system thing, I just think that needs to just stay as a desktop OS.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna iOSify OS 10 for sure.
No,
For
I
sure,
don't want that.
they're gonna have to. I mean, that's really the evolution of the operating system. But how much and what features are going to be changed? I mean, that's the main question I have.
Listen, the best you can ever hope for is about a 4 or 5 year run at the most with any sort of design, because after that it's just old. People are going to be so used to it that they don't really care if it's a decent device or not. They're going to be, all right, what's the next new hot thing? Something new is going to come out within the next 5 years that's going to be better than the iPhone as it is right now. That's just the way it is. But what they got going for them is that this is the first time that the iPhone has ever been designed by somebody other than Scott Forstall.
Yeah. I mean, he's really one.
So
of the,
I think that's a major change right there. That to me is a positive sign that they're actually serious about doing something different with iOS 7.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge, I think, make or break, in my opinion.
You think this is gonna be their main thing? This is what's gonna really change?
Oh my god!
it?
Like I'm Android. I'm all Android. If I see something that just looks like so ridiculous that I just want to have that and want to be a part of that, I'm gonna just immediately go back and get the next iPhone that has that operating system.
Yeah, I mean,
it's all about look.
I'm excited for that. I really am. I think they're gonna have to really up the ante because they've kind of fallen behind.
This is the same boat that BlackBerry was in when they had this. It's a transition phase where are they going to be able to transition into the next phase of iOS where they started off with this great thing and they built upon it for 3-4 years, but now it's time for them to actually go ahead and do a huge revolutionary change with the operating system. And are they going to be able to make that change successfully?
Another thing that we actually got from Apple, which was a bizarre timing for this, is that they have added a new iPod Touch to their lineup. It's a 16 gig iPod Touch, which was missing from their lineup for the updated 2012 model. Started at 32 gig and it was $299. And this is something that I complained about and said they're missing this Christmas gift thing with the new iPod Touch. And a lot of people were upset over that. Well, they've added the 4-inch Retina screen. They've added a lot of this, but it does not have a back-facing camera. So you do not have the 5-megapixel back-facing camera. Only a front-facing FaceTime camera is on this one.
Right. You know why this is?
Why do you think this is?
This is for grandparents and kids.
But
because doing FaceTime, this is like I see this happen all the time now. And this is totally for kids, and they're trying to get something cheap enough, even though I still think this is an expensive device. It should have been $199, but
yeah, absolutely.
That's the problem. I mean, their pricing is so expensive in an economy that is not well.
I mean, $229, and you're not getting the rear-facing camera. Bizarre to me that this is what they're doing, because generally it was, the storage is what changed the price, not the camera on this thing.
Right.
So...
So you're telling me that back-facing camera is $70?
Yeah, exactly right, John.
I guess.
That's a perfect point. That's the biggest ripoff. That camera's worth what? $33 maybe.
I mean, really. I mean that's what they're pretty much doing. I mean, I guess this is good for the kids. They want to play their iOS games. They're still gonna get the new bigger screen. They're still gonna get it, but
this will be my kid's first computer. Like when he's what? How old do you get them now? 6, 7. And if he wants a big Christmas gift, give him this, and it's like this is the greatest gift I could have ever given him. It's his connection to the internet.
I don't know. I was a big fan of the iPod Touch until Apple released the last one, and I was really disappointed the way they did this, where they totally alienated the entry-level device that you buy your 7-year-old. You're absolutely right. Yeah. You know what I always think about with this device? How many kids asked for an iPod Touch and their parents or grandparents went to the Apple store and bought the $199 one. That's the older model, and brought it, and the disappointment on Christmas morning.
So much.
Can you imagine? How mad would you be if you asked for the new iPod Touch and your parents got you the older one? You know what I would do? I would take it. I would take it and I'd flush it down the toilet, and I would say, "Buy me a new one." That's what I would do. I don't know if you guys, would do that, but I would be a spoiled. If I could be a child all over again, I would want to be the child of a very wealthy couple, and I would be an obnoxious kid.
So you'd probably be a great adult as well.
I would want to be a really obnoxious kid. I was not an obnoxious kid, but if I were reincarnated, that's who I would want to be. And I don't appreciate anything.
Let's talk about WWDC.
Just end up like home.
I would be calm. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
You want to talk? Okay, talk about WWDC.
Well, this is the only thing I want out of WWDC, and you guys probably will think this is ridiculous. I want to hear about a new Retina MacBook Pro, and I want to hear about Retina.
But we're not getting that.
Mini.
We're not getting that.
What? We're not getting either of those things.
No, it's going to be software. That's all it's going to be. You don't care.
I don't care.
Okay.
No.
I want to talk about something that I kind of discovered this week. I want to talk about no, not Dodo. So I was doing some research over the last couple days. A friend of mine, they had an issue with their Apple ID. They couldn't remember the Apple ID, or they couldn't remember the password, and I was helping them out. And I started looking into how to get your contact info back and how to get your password and stuff mailed to you. So I was helping them out, and I stumbled that Apple's authentication for iCloud is the worst thing I've ever seen. To the point that I was able to get into his account.
Yeah.
He just said, I don't know what my password is. I was able to recover the password, change his password, and take over his account. So I started, I did a little bit of hacking. I don't know if you would call hacking. And I started, because someone's Apple ID based on their iMessage, and I just put it in the recovery thing. And I put in 5 of my friends. Every single one of them, I was able to guess their security question, which was, what is your pet's name? Yeah. And I was able to guess it. I could have changed their passwords. I could have taken all their contact info, gotten all their calendar info. I mean, what are you going to do with the contact info? It's not really, I guess it's important, but it's not a huge, oh my God, all these pictures are leaked of me. And I was wondering, because remember, John, I was asking, I'm like, where does Apple put your images? Because that is a major problem if all your pictures are going to iCloud and there's pretty much no authentication required to kind of get it. Turns out you can't really, they don't put it on the cloud in that sense where you access it. But after all this, Apple announced that there's 2-step authentication is not protecting anybody. It was not Apple, but a company that looks into this. So what do you think of that, John? Because we were just talking about this and what a big deal it is, and they're really bad with it.
Yeah, the company is called Elcom Soft, and now that two-factor authentication for Apple has been out for a little while, these companies have actually taken a look. Because whenever something like this comes out, you're going to have these security companies come out and try and break it to see what the vulnerabilities are in these systems. The fact that it's pretty weak as it is kind of sad. But in a way, some of this is just social engineering. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's really easy to figure something out. And with social engineering, I mean, that's really half the battle there. But I also started looking into Facebook, and I started looking into Gmail and how they do it. And with Gmail, they actually text you the password. So you really can't get access to someone's phone. I mean, you could try to do some changes, but they're much better, and Facebook is the same thing. They're much better at authenticating and kind of determining that you are who you say you are, and we're sending you the new password, or you're able to change it. Apple's is really bad. I mean, everybody that I tried.
It's not to say that two-step verification is completely pointless. It's the implementation of the two-step authentication process that they've kind of botched in this. They're just not implementing it in a way that it's actually adding any additional protection.
I mean, if I wanted to, I could have changed all these people's passwords, gotten all their contact info.
Yeah, what they say here is that Apple's two-factor authentication does not prevent anyone from restoring an iOS backup onto a new, not trusted device. In addition, and this is much more of an issue, Apple's implementation does not apply to iCloud backups, allowing anyone and everyone knowing a user's Apple ID and password to download and access information stored in the iCloud.
Yeah, so what you would actually have to do is you would get into their iCloud, you would authenticate or whatever you need to do, change their password, then use that iCloud account on your phone, and it would
basically clone all the information on their phone,
including pictures.
Yes.
Including pictures. So that
sounds like way too much work.
No, it's not.
It's not. No,
I didn't go as far as changing the password. I'm going to try to do this with my wife's phone so I could see how easy it is and how if they actually notify you saying like, hey, listen, we just synced all your info to this account or this device.
Is this part of your charging your phone gimmick?
No, it's not charging the phone. But you know what?
Gimmick.
Oh, that's the best one. That's actually the best one. But
that's even a worse security hole that cannot even be stopped.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
do you know about that?
Crazy.
The biggest thing that's
I
happening.
don't think you should talk about it because that could really be a security hole.
I mean, pretty much. If you give, let's say, you want to charge your phone, if you connect it to someone's computer to charge, they have access to all your photos, all your data, everything. I mean, it's
automatically.
What they should do is say it should prompt some sort of password and encryption on there, saying like, okay, put in the password if you want to copy over a file.
USB mass storage, that's all it is.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, they should do some sort of encryption there. I mean, pretty much every phone. It's not just Apple. Android, everything is like that. It's just USB mass storage, and they do it as a convenience for you. But it's also a major thing. And again, that's social engineering. But you could. It's amazing, but with the iCloud stuff, that how insecure iCloud is.
So let me ask you, how paranoid are you now?
I mean, listen, I don't take any pictures of myself on my phone. You know, I'm so paranoid with this stuff. I'm very careful what I actually keep on my phone, what I actually write to people on my phone. But I know a lot of people that are not that careful. And this is a potential risk if someone wants to get. I mean, the biggest thing is contact info. You know, if I actually, you want to hear my paranoia? Certain people on my phone I don't use their real names on my phone.
Really? What do you use?
I use, like gimmick
call them
names.
Yankee second basemen.
What?
Former Yankee second basemen is what you call them.
No, yes, that's exactly what I call them. I actually have like gimmick names for people. Because I don't want their contact info going. Like, I deal with a lot of publicists, and sometimes for Chauncey's show, like, I have to get in touch with, like, whoever the Z-list celebrity is. I actually use a different name depending on who it is.
Do you use former wrestler names?
No, I don't. I actually use, like, regular people that I know, and then it gets really confusing sometimes when the actual person calls me, because I don't know which one it is.
You know who it is.
It's actually a very flawed way of doing things.
Nice.
But this was fascinating, John. Because considering we were just talking about this and how bad it is, I would imagine they would kind of get a little tighter with the security. Before we wrap up, I want to do one more story, and we'll go into our picks of the week.
My God, we're almost done.
I know. Fast show.
By.
Yahoo confirms the acquisition of Tumblr, but will run it as a separate company. Tumblr has about 300 million monthly unique visitors to the blogs on their platform. It's really catching up to, I guess, WordPress and a lot of these other blogs. It's a simple,
very much so,
simple blog. It's very popular with the kids. Everybody's tumbling now.
No restrictions, I believe, on nudity. I believe.
No, there
definitely
isn't.
not.
Definitely there isn't.
And I think that's why
we
it's
can
popular.
confirm that.
Yeah, it's a very popular blog
There's
platform.
no rules.
Yeah, pretty much no rules. It was purchased, I believe, for $1.1 billion. Yahoo's making some major shifts and major changes, and they were. What the hell's that? Do you hear that? It's like a helicopter or something. They've made some major. I don't know. I'm hearing things and I'm seeing stuff. I'm like Ray Liotta at the end of Goodfellas, where he's seeing the black helicopter.
Which color pill did you take today?
The pink one.
Good.
So $1.1 billion. Do you think this is bad for Tumblr? Do you think this is good for Yahoo? I'll go to John first.
This is one of those things where, do companies' acquisition ever turn out as good as they say they are going to? Any company that's ever said, "Oh yeah, we've bought this company, but we're gonna leave it as a separate business. We're not gonna meddle with it. We're not gonna change anything with it. We're just gonna let them run it." And then 2 months later, you find out, "Oh, we're firing everybody from this company that we acquired."
Yeah, I mean Tumblr. I've never used Tumblr. I personally don't
have a Tumblr account.
Do you really?
I do.
Do you tumble?
I do consistently. Why don't you can bring it up?
What is it?
Come on, I'm culmination throughout the entire
Tumblr.com/culmination. What is it?
Probably, yeah. And why it's good, and we've talked about this before, but IFTTT makes it so that's updated constantly.
What is it?
If
Oh, iFit. If it. It's not I.
Then that.
Yeah, if it.
IFTTT.
If it.
If then that.
Okay. If it.
If this and that.
Sorry.
I don't know. So you tumble.
So I tumble. Yes. No. I mean, I have to be up on this because I work a lot with WordPress sites, and this is the huge, I think, attraction to this. Not only because there's not a lot of rules. I think it's so easy to do.
It's microblogging.
Yeah, it's microblogging. Yeah,
and it's connected to so many services that you use on your phone. And that's
so what does it do? So like every time I take a picture, it'll post it on Tumblr. I could do that.
Exactly. I have it set up like every time I favorite a YouTube video or I like a YouTube video, like it'll put all those things there.
Actually, that's pretty cool.
Exactly.
If you go to suncast.com, that's Tumblr.
It is. I didn't know that.
Yeah. There you go. Look at that.
I didn't know that.
My entire site is Tumblr based.
I had no idea.
Yep.
I thought it was a great acquisition. I think Yahoo needed to buy something to help them.
I think
they've already started making changes. I don't know if it's Yahoo making the changes or not, but they've now started including advertisements in your dashboard inside of posts, which is kind of not really on board with inline advertisements on my dashboard.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm hoping they keep things, normal, and they don't really shake up the entire company. Hey guys,
only time will tell. But I can tell you, it's something that I am not going to hold them to that promise because more times than not, they don't ever hold to that promise.
So we are approaching the end of the show, and that means it is time for our picks of the week. Every week, Suncast, myself, and Josh go through products, websites, apps, whatever it is that we like, and we pick it as our product or thing of the week. So who wants to go first this week?
I will.
You will. All right. What is your pick of the week?
My pick of the week is let me set up the story here. I'm moving. So with moving comes, I'm going to have a ton of TVs, and I need to be able to control everything in my room with one remote so I don't have a problem with explaining to my wife or whoever comes how to work my television. Here is what I found. It is the Logitech Harmony Ultimate. This is the newest from Logitech, and I can open it live here for you.
Oh, wow.
Because I want to show you.
I'm very excited.
Very excited. Is there any timpani drums? So look, this is different from most of theirs, and I wish I had my other ones over there. I'm not going to get up. It's much smaller than we've seen before from their Logitech remotes. It's really nice in the hand. It's
very nice and thin too.
Yeah, real thin, and then it has that like sort of grit to the back, so it feels nice. This then is not only a touchscreen that'll have your favorite logos of the networks that you watch, you can just hit, or when you're in like Apple TV and stuff, you can use it as a touchscreen as well. Then the regular buttons on it, notice that there's not a lot of buttons.
No, there isn't.
It's mostly digital, and it's the basic ones. I mean, it's volume, channel up. It comes with this great little charger, and usually these things you charge like once every 2 weeks, I think.
Oh, that's really cool. So you don't have to change the battery on that thing.
Right. And the reason why this one's called the Ultimate, first of all, it controls 15 devices. So pretty much I'm going to program it to control basically 3 of my TVs because I'm not 15 total devices that'll probably equal.
Okay.
So there's that. And then this is new for Logitech. The biggest problem they've always had is you cannot control your PS3 because it uses the Bluetooth technology to control it.
Yeah.
Here it is. So you basically can put this in. This is an RF repeater. Is that what they're called?
Sure.
So this is, you basically can put this in. You can even hide all your stuff, put it behind cabinets because it doesn't need a direct thing. You have this connected, and you can control all your devices. So there is a price tag, a huge price tag associated with this.
Okay, how much is
How
this?
much would you pay?
I would pay $299.
Well, you would not be paying enough. That is the only thing. It's weird in this market. There is a premium for these products. This is $350 on Amazon right now.
$350. Okay.
They do have lower versions. There's a 250 model that does not come with the RF. So if you don't have anything that's Bluetooth, you can go down. I think it's the same functionalities just without that for $100 left. But I needed to have that. But I'm thinking of it this way. I'm going to have one remote for many TVs, not a whole bunch of different.
So you're saving money in your mind.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if you're just going to have one remote to control all your devices like you live in Star Trek, I would highly recommend the Logitech Harmony Ultimate.
Very cool pick. I like the pick. And well, of course, we're going to have the picks on our website at gfknetwork.com when we post the show. John, what is your pick of the week?
My pick of the week is actually a new feature or some new imagery added to Google Maps, and it's pretty cool. I've been to New York a couple of times to visit Andrew and the GFQ network, and I haven't been there before, so I actually wanted to go and tour the city. And if you haven't ever been there before, there's so much to see that you can never actually ever see everything unless you actually live there. But if there's a couple of attractions that are really cool. The 9/11 Memorial and Central Park. And Google Maps has now added exclusive imagery from both those locations, which is pretty cool.
Oh,
so
wow.
let me bring that up, and I'll show you a little bit of that.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Pretty cool. It has the entire memorial on there. I'm going to try and full screen this so that all that other information isn't there. It's got both tower locations. You can read all the names on this. And it's in such stunning detail that it's amazing. And this is something that's really interesting because not a lot of people realize this, but in order to access the 9/11 Memorial, you actually have to set up an appointment in order to go and view this. So you might not necessarily realize that you actually have to do that. So you can do it this way and actually view all kinds of stuff in New York City.
Wow, that looks beautiful, too.
It's so amazing. They have both tower locations on there. Let me de-screen this and see if I can bring up Central Park and show you some of that because it's really cool. If you've never been to Central Park, it's amazing, all the stuff that's there. And I really like it because it's just, I don't know if it'll be, there we go. Let me full screen that so you can see. And it's really cool, all the stuff that you can see in there. People don't necessarily realize how big Central Park really is.
It's the entire island. It goes from one side to the other.
And it's just amazing, all the stuff that they have there. So if you're actually interested in seeing what Central Park is really all about, they have all of that on Google Maps now, both the 9/11 Memorial and the all of Central Park. They have these little rigs that they just ride around all the paths, all the secret paths that they have in Central Park. It's really cool. So even if you had all day, you could never see all of Central Park. It's just that big. So if you want, just go to Google Maps and check that out. We'll also have a link on our website to it.
Very, very cool, John. That's actually really interesting. My pick this week, I'm going to be a little selfish. It's going to be something that has to do with the GFQ network, and that is our Roku app. The GFQ network now has a Roku app. If you have a Roku box, if you have a Roku box and you don't really use it, you should definitely check it out. We're on there. We're doing live streaming. So here's a screenshot, actually, from the app. We do live streaming of HD video. Whatever we're broadcasting is streaming live on the Roku, so you can watch on the big screen. If you miss any show that we're doing, everything is archived on the Roku. You have access to all our shows on there. And it's very easy to download. If you have a Roku, just go into the new category. And I believe we're like the first one on there. We're featured right on the front page under new. We've had thousands of people download it over the last week, which is unbelievable. A lot of our viewers have a Roku box, and they've been asking, how can I watch GFQ on the TV? What can I do? And here's your answer. If you have a Roku, you can watch it on Roku. The next 2 weeks, actually, are going to be our apps that we're going to be profiling here on the network. So I believe we're going to talk about Google TV, and then we're going to talk about iOS. But if you have a Roku, check it out. Also, let us know if it's a little buggy, if it's not working right for you. We definitely want to improve. We definitely want to grow with the app. So send us information if you're having any issues. But the pick of the week this week for me is the GFQ Roku app. And that's it, guys. We are done with the show. I want to thank Suncast for, of course, showing up and pulling up great images.
Showing up like I wasn't going to show up.
Yeah. You could show up. You could, you know, hang out.
Next
whatever.
time, I'm just not going to show up then.
Yeah. No. I appreciate it. You can follow Suncast on Twitter at Suncast. Also, catch him everywhere GFQ is. He's all over the network. Also, I want to thank Josh Coleman from J Maverick Designs. Thank you for showing up.
Thank you. You know, I love being always your backup choice for every show.
No, you are you're my main choice. My main squeeze.
No, it's great being here. I enjoy doing the show with the both of you.
You can follow Josh on
Cheer
Twitter.
for Fridays.
Yeah, cheer for Fridays. Thank you. You can follow Josh on Twitter at Culmination. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Zarian. And of course, subscribe to the show, guys. I encourage you guys, if you have iTunes, whatever the platform is, subscribe. It helps us out. It lets us track our numbers. We could get advertisers, and we could keep doing mediocre content on a regular basis. Until next time, guys, we'll see you next week on Tech News Weekly. Good night, everybody.